Hello everyone, welcome to the Eternal Card Breakdown. My name is Pojo. We are here today to review Gerrit the Throne Guardian, but as you can probably tell by my voice, I'm still a little bit sick. I've been down for the count for the past 5 or 6 days, so I apologize that there haven't been that many videos or streams in that time. We have been trying to stream. I think we streamed once on Friday and once on Monday, but it's been a little bit difficult with my throat the way that it is. Just tends to be a little trickier. We are planning on doing some all-day streams Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, assuming that our voice cooperates, which we're going to give it a rest today and see how it feels on Thursday. So hopefully we'll have something at 7 p.m. PST tomorrow, and if not, we will definitely have a big long stream on Friday, unless I somehow get sick again. But I have been through the worst of the disease. With any luck, it actually was coronavirus, which is kind of weird to say, but that would mean that I've built at least something of an immunity to it, and also I'm stuck inside for 2 or 3 weeks anyways, so that should be something to hopefully celebrate, and with any luck we'll be celebrating it over the next couple of days with some very, very good social distancing streams. Yeah, we'll be playing a lot of Eternal and probably a lot of other games as well over the next couple of days, so look out for those starting Friday, I believe. But we're here to talk about the promo. So this card, of course, Gerrit Throne Guardian, is available for free for the next week or so. Every time that you play a game, if you win a game once per day, you'll get a copy of Gerrit Throne Guardian. You can also buy, I believe, a promo pack of some kind that gets you an avatar and a premium setup with 4 copies of Gerrit just to access right away if you want to get a jump on the competition with this card. Although as far as what this card offers, it's sort of an interesting question. There's certainly some interesting things that might end up happening with this card in terms of whether or not it's going to be usable in certain formats. For example, I think everybody will have access to 4 copies of this exactly when the ECQ starts, which is going to be a little bit interesting. But yeah, it's going to be fairly cool to play around with. So this is a very unusual time for a promo card actually to come out in that respect. Okay, so Gerrit, 2/4 endurance. Whenever 1 or more units would be silenced, Gerrit gets +2 strength instead. That means that the unit can't be silenced. It also means that all of your other units can't be silenced. It also means that your enemy's units can't be silenced, but that if you're playing units with silence and you don't have targets that you would normally want to silence, you can still like try to silence your own stuff, use stuff like Archive Curator, give Gerrit a minor buff. I would not recommend that course of action, as I don't think that's the optimal path to using Gerrit. Mostly because spending what is generally a very beneficial effect to get only a +2 bonus, I would say is not going to be terribly great on your end. But the thing that is nice about Gerrit is that protective ability. The ability to protect units from silence is fairly rare in this game. There are currently 3 cards that have it: Lita's Apprentice, Gerrit Throne Guardian, and Bastion of the Dawn. And I believe we will be building a deck with all 3 of those in it, since Tradition has a wide variety of interesting things to access, and this also opens up the opportunity to play some like Tradition Unseen, where you have, say, a bunch of interesting Unseen cards that gain a bunch of battle skills, and then combined with cards like Lita's Apprentice and Gerrit Throne Guardian, you no longer can silence those cards, and things get really, really rough from there. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting idea. I think that there's some potential to that. The one thing that I think Gerrit Throne Guardian definitely belongs in is a Yojimba deck. If you aren't aware, Yojimba is the 3-cost 0/6 that whenever an enemy plays a unit, it is silenced, meaning that all of your enemy's units will now trigger Gerrit Throne Guardian and also not silence Yojimba, and also gives you max power or strength equal to your max power, and when it attacks you draw and deals damage, you draw 2 cards. So there's a lot of really, really good things happening there. If you are playing in like a Lita's Apprentice, Bastion of the Dawn deck, Yojimba seems to be pretty serviceable, but with the addition of Gerrit Throne Guardian, that kind of pushes things over to a certain point where it's actually getting really, really difficult for your opponent to silence your units. Lita's Apprentice can't really be silenced very easily. Gerrit Throne Guardian can't be silenced at all, and like if you can't get through Gerrit or Lita, then it's impossible to get through to Yojimba or any other sort of key combo piece that you really, really want not to be silenced. Say like a Kindling Carver or some sort of like interesting shenanigans just machine, if you're trying for a Strange Burglar, or basically any unit that you think you can protect from dying. Gerrit Throne Guardian makes it so that that card also can't be killed. For example, in Throne you could build something along the lines of like Vargo Redclaw and play around with Invulnerable to Damage quite a bit. Gerrit Throne Guardian noticeably plays really, really well with the hammer that gives Invulnerable to Damage, because because an invulnerable to damage unit that cannot be silenced is basically immune to everything that red has to offer. It can only really be killed by things in shadows. So there's a lot of like ways to stack protections here and make units a lot less vulnerable, and that might promise Gerrit some position in a curve. Overall, I think his stat line is pretty under par. A 2-4 with endurance is not bad. It's certainly not very playable in Throne. Even if this gets up to the 4-4 with endurance very, very quickly, that's only a moderate investment of your stats, and the card still doesn't really do anything when it enters the battlefield or when it exits the battlefield. It has to be played in conjunction with other cards in order to get that sort of stat line that really, really matters. So probably not a very strong Throne card in that respect. However, in Expedition, I think this silence protection combined with the ability to sort of scale up a little bit more out of control really makes Gerrit a bit more promising. There's some potential to protect yourselves from mass silence effects. If you're playing into your standard stranger type stuff and you think that silence is going to be the thing that kills that stranger, that's a pretty solid way to basically just keep Groda Stranger safe and keep it very, very scary. It's just a nasty card in general in terms of like the fact that you have to go through it to deal with your other bigger threats, and it's an interesting curve scaler that allows you to jump into your 4s, 5s, and 6s. Overall, I think this card is fairly low powered unless you are synergizing really, really well with it, but if you have the right number of things going on that are both like adjacent to Gerrit and also not directly in sort of a Gerrit theme, I would say that like trying to buff Gerrit is wrong, but if most of your other cards benefit from Gerrit's presence, then it can add a lot of power to that list. And I'm talking, of course, of things like Yojimba, any sort of stranger that has really good benefits that you expect to be silenced, anything that you basically like are a little worried about and want to protect, Gerrit Throne Guardian can protect it. So there's some good potential there. But yeah, it's one of the weaker promo cards that we've seen released recently. I think that overall, it's not going to rank very highly in most decks, but in Tradition in particular, and Tradition and Expedition, I think the card has a lot of potential, and that's sort of my final say on it. All right. I've probably talked enough on this particular throat, but as I said, we should be streaming again Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, so I hope to see you all there. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time with more Eternal card breakdowns, brews, and many other things. Have a lovely evening, everyone, and stay safe out there. Good night.